Good morning, and I am the Angry Cook. Just a quick intro today. I'm trying not to do these to kind of cut the video times down a little bit. Um, this is video number 98. So I would expect in about 2 weeks we're going to be doing our live question answer and tips and bitching and all kinds of stuff things. So mark it on your calendar. Saturday, probably somewhere in the vicinity of the whatever the hell Saturday is, 2 weeks from Saturday, whatever. But that's an estimate. There'll be a marker up or a placeholder that'll tell you exactly when, and I'll announce it next video also. This video is English beef stew with crispy dumplings. Don't expect this to be an American beef stew that smacks you in the face with all kinds of flavors and stuff. This is very subtle. It's very good. It's very subtle. So try it before you decide you're going to throw other crap into it, okay? It's like most English food. It doesn't come out and be very aggressive in you. It just kind of sneaks up on you and you sit there and say, I liked it. So, English beef stew, episode 98. See you in a bit. Hello, and I am the Angry Cook. Today's something a little bit different. Back to jolly old England. We're going to be doing a real English beef stew with crispy dumplings. A lot of steps, not complicated. Get your mise en place in place and ready to go, and you'll be set. Okay, mise en place means you're stuck. Everything you need to get moving. Your mise en place is ready, you're ready. What are we going to do? We're going to do a beef stew. We have 2 pounds of beef cubes. We have a pint of beef stock. We have beer. This is a British brown ale. Blue Star, if you're familiar with British beer. Funny thing about that is I can't find the real one. We evidently don't import it, but it's made here. So it's not from the northeast England, or from the north part of England. Be that as it may. 2 carrots. Take a leek. Onion. 4 cloves of garlic, which we're going to chop. We have some dried thyme, freshly ground pepper, salt, 3½ ounces of flour, which is going to go on our beef when we saute it. Some cornstarch to help thicken our beef stock, which we're going to add at the end before we put our dumplings in. So let's get things moving, shall we? First thing is first. Let's get our carrots and our leek and our garbage bowl, which I still don't have and never do. Let's use that. That's a good garbage bowl. Who's think that's a good garbage bowl? I think it's a great garbage bowl, personally. Remove the outer covering. This one's really dirty. So we're going to really take care and clean this one up well. We're going to chop this into large pieces. We're going to reserve 3½ ounces for our dumpling. We've got to remember that. Take our root off. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. Never mind. And our garbage bowl is done already. Cut in half. Hello, monster. Jade came to visit, of course. Imagine that. With her beef sitting on the table. We're gonna rinse these guys off. Once again, we don't peel our carrots. If that upsets you, tough tushy. Yeah. And we're just gonna cut these guys. You know what? cutting and no place to put it. Let's get your act together, boy. Got half the bigger parts. Chunks are about an inch, give or take. It's English dish. I should give it to you in millimeters or centimeters, but I haven't a clue. I'm going to cut the tops of these off because they were really, really dirty. And I don't want dirt ruining my dish. This. We're going to quarter our leek. Again, about an inch, give or take. Oh, timber. Jay's over on the couch staring at me, waiting, just waiting. She's got that really intent look on her face right now. She knows I'm cooking, and she knows what that means. She knows there's an egg on the table. She knows there's beef. She knows there's carrots. Not crazy about carrots, but she'll eat them if necessary. Carrots, turnip. Peel our cover up. Peel our turnip. The guy whose recipe this is was a professional cook in England. Most of the recipe, some of it's mine. The thing that astounds me about restaurants, I never did ask my dad about this because I didn't think about it at the time. They waste a ton of food when they're cutting things. I mean, he cut it, he quartered it, and then he sliced it up, and then he took like that much skin off it the whole way around. It was just a huge waste of food. Whereas here, we're just taking the peel. I don't know. Maybe just me being cheap. Don't forget, 100th episode, coming up in a few weeks. Whoa, wrong. Get your questions in if you have any comments. Comments are welcome. I may not read them. If you're nasty to me, don't be nasty to me. But, I probably will. Love turnips, rutabagas. Show you in there. We're going to do our leek. We already did our leek. We did our turnip leek. We're going to do our onion. And again, chunks. My bowl runneth over. If you're ever into making a vegetable stock, that stuff would be in the vegetable stock. I should, and someday I will, but I'm not right now. But you can throw that shit in the freezer, in a bag, and keep it and do a stock out of it. Even use it for regular stock. I mean, hell's bells, Junior. This ain't rocket science. Junkies. God damn it. Get out. Here's my tongue. Let's go. Alrighty-o. Our head off our garlicky. This will help when I crush it a little bit to get the skin off. We're not going to crush it a lot, just pounce on it to help get the skin off. See? the onion this time, it's garlic this time. Holy crap. Woo! Get out, Mattel. That's enough. You know what? I think I'm going to stick another garlic in there. I just don't think that's enough garlic. That one just surrendered the skin itself. Just surrendered. Said, no, not me! Oh, what is that? There's two of them, no wonder, huh? Yeah. Oh my God. Alright. Let that be done. Alright. Just gonna go with our spices. Let's not go with our main veggies. Still not big enough. We're gonna put our beef in a bowl and add our 3½ ounces of flour. We're gonna cook these nicely. Stir it around. This is gonna be the beginning of our gravy. Not our completed gravy, but the beginning. Let's get a nice coating of flour on every piece. Get this going a while. Tablespoon or so of oil on the bottom. Anything that's in this bowl is going in that pan. We're going to deglaze that in a little while. When we're done, I want every morsel of flour. There we go. That's working out nicely. All right. Over here. Oh man. We're going to take a break for a sec. So my saute pan heats up, and then we're going to saute away, and maybe I'll bring you over here for that, and then put you back over here, and back and neck. Anyway, let's take a break. See you in a minute. We're going to do this probably in a couple of different helpings as I splatter the frickin' oil all over the place like a moron. Be careful with oil, alright? Jesus. Don't crowd the pan is what I was trying to get out of my gob when I did that stupidity. Christ. Okay, little change here. Ran out of batteries for the big cam. So what happens when you don't come prepared as usual. So we're on stove cam. Hopefully it'll make the deal. We'll have to do the rest of the video on this. I was just saying to myself how I need to get an AC adapter for that camera so I'm not screwing around with batteries. And what happens right away? Batteries. Okay. We're not worried about cooking this, we're just worried about getting it a little brown. So let's get you off. And the next batch going. A splash of oil, just a little bit. Keep things moving nicely. Don't throw them in the goddamn pan again. Spread them out. There's one that needs to be separated. on. Thank you. Get some oil on all of them too. One more batch ought to do it. Now we're going to add a little bit of our stock in here. Get all this bond off. Scrape the bottom. Don't be afraid to scrape it and get all that goodness off of there. Okay, when that's all done, I'm going to pour that right back in here. Now, put your Dutch oven, if you have one, another couple of tablespoons of oil on a medium heat, medium, a little over medium. Get that warmed up. I think that little crackle was our invitation. Yes, it was. And our garlic goes in with the seasonings. You thought I forgot about that, didn't you? Starting to get warm. Goody, goody, goody. Half a teaspoon of thyme. Kosher salt, a little more than half a teaspoon. Half a teaspoon of table salt. Measurement's different between kosher and sea salt and table salt because it's a coarser grind. There's more space in there. And half a teaspoon of fresh ground pepper. And mix. Add your fortified beef broth. And I'm going to add to mine, because I know that this brand of beef broth is thin, there's not much flavor to it. I'm going to add a teaspoon of better than bouillon for flavoring. You don't have to do that, that's up to you. But I've used this before, and it just doesn't have the flavor to it that I'm expecting and I want. We're going to add our beer. Let's mix that around a little bit. Get that incorporated a little. So it's not just hitting there with one big glump. Glump. I love that word, glump. And it's thickening a little bit. Let's add our beer. Good old British brown ale. Foam and all. Oh, and our garlic. Shit. It's okay. Not a big deal. Of course, Jade has to go out. Laundry's ready. I'm cooking cheese, right? Bring this to a boil. Then we're going to put it in the oven. I'm going to turn it up a hair. I'm going to use my usual hair, but we're not going to do that. This one's been a pretty obnoxious as it is. We're coming back and doing our dumplings in a minute, in a little bit. We have 2 hours to sit for this, so I want to get this in the oven by 1 o'clock here, and it looks like I'm going to make it. Oh, man. Here come the bubble, bubble, bubble. This, by the way, is a large 8-quart. I believe it's 8-quart. 10 1/4 inch diameter, 8-quart that I got at a thrift store for $35. I seasoned it. Perfect. Another thrift store score. Cover on, get our gloves on, get in the middle shelf of the oven. 320, 2 hours. Oh. And we'll be back in a little bit to make dumplings. So, see you in a bit. As I've said, we've had video issues throughout this. I think we used 2 or 3 different cams. Somehow we missed the dumpling creation. So I'm going to walk you through making dumplings. You're going to add the flour and the baking powder to a bowl and use your whisk to combine them together. Cut your butter into little, like 1/4 inch chunks. Add those chunks to the flour and use your fingers to coat them with flour and kind of make little like breadcrumbs. Add the suet next. Now, suet, I had no luck finding suet at all. If you can't find the suet, for God's sake, don't use the bird suet. Use hard shortening and grate it and use that instead. Flavor is not the same, but it's the best we can do. The next step, you're going to take the egg, combine it well with the milk, and add it to the flour. Use a knife to cut it through. Cover that and set it aside until later on. When it comes time to add the dumplings, you'll see that in the video in a little bit. Okay, 2 hours in. Let's take a gander at our stew. We're going to dumplingize it and thicken it. Not necessarily in that order, by the way. Oh, Jesus, hot. We do have to turn our temperature up. We have to turn this on to about medium-low. Look at that! Okay, we got to turn our oven up to 355. Okay, and we're going to thicken this first. Remember, stir your thickener. And don't get it all over the goddamn place. Going to stir it a little bit first. Pour our thickener in. Make sure you're stirring while you're pouring this in, please. This is very hot and it's going to thicken up very quickly. I think that's about where we want it. Now, one of the tricks I have to make sure that your dumplings don't stick to your spoon is to dip it in the grater. And take a hunk, drop it, dip it, hunkatize it, drop it, dip it, hunkatize it, drop it, dunk it, you get it. These are kind of big dumplings, but you make them the size you want them to be. think this is just going to work out really well. In the end, now, if your dish was ceramic, you would not have put that on a burner. You would have put it on some hot pads or just on a non-lit burner and did the same thing. Now we're going to turn that off. We're going to leave it uncovered. If you want your dumplings all soft, cover it back up again. I don't. I want mine to be crispy. Crispy, crunchy. Back in the oven. 30 minutes. Crispy, crunchy. We'll be back in 30 minutes for the reveal. Alright, as you can hear, time. Show our gloves on. Turn the oven off. Turn the oven light off. Turn the big light on. Open the oven. There, boys and girls, in all its boiling pleasure, English beef stew with crispy dumplings. I don't know about you, but I'm excited. Thanks for stopping by The Angry Cook again. We'll see you next time. Bye.